first night in Kikwit.
The first night we spent in the village, I felt a chill that didn't belong to the cool evening breeze. I was in the small hut we had been given, sitting by the fire. My mother was cooking, and my father was outside talking to the villagers. But I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching me. I glanced toward the window, but there was no one. Yet, the feeling stayed with me, like shadows lurking just beyond sight. The next morning, an old woman came to our hut. She was bent over, with white hair like silver threads, and eyes so sharp they seemed to look right through me. She warned me, "Do not play the drum in the village, Kaomi. The spirits do not like it." I thought she was just an old woman with superstitions, but her eyes filled with fear when she said my name. It was the first time anyone in Kikwit had even spoken to me, and her warning sent a shiver down my spine. I didn't understand why she was so afraid of me playing music. I had always loved playing music, especially the drums my father gave me. The sound was deep, powerful, and it made my heart feel lighter. One evening, I couldn't resist. I went outside and started to drum, the rhythm flowing naturally from my hands. As the beat echoed through the village, something strange happened. The air grew heavy, and I could feel the ground beneath me tremble slightly. The villagers began to whisper, their faces pale, but I didn't stop playing. That's when I heard it, a voice in my head. "Kaomi. Kaomi." It was soft, almost like a whisper carried on the wind, but it was unmistakable. That night, after I finished playing, I felt a strange pull to the forest. I followed it, my feet moving on their own. As I walked deeper into the trees, I saw a figure in the distance. It was a woman, standing motionless. Her skin was pale, her eyes hollow, and her clothes were tattered. She turned toward me, and I felt a coldness fill my chest. "Why do you call me?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. My heart raced, but I couldn't speak. Then she vanished, like smoke in the wind. After that night, my dreams changed. I began to see the woman, the pale figure, standing at the edge of the forest, watching me. In my dreams, she would whisper her name, "I am near. Help me." Her voice was soft, but the sadness in it was overwhelming. I woke up in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat, heart pounding. But I couldn't forget her eyes. I couldn't forget her words. I started asking the villagers about Nia, but no one would speak. They avoided me, casting nervous glances when I asked. Finally, an old man took me aside and told me the truth. Nia had been a young girl, the musician, just like me. She had played the drums long ago, and her music had angered the spirits. The villagers believed she had called upon something dark, something evil, and the spirits had taken her. Her body was never found, but they said her spirit still wandered the village, waiting for someone to play the drums again. I tried to stop playing the drums, but it was impossible. The music filled my head, calling to me in ways I couldn't ignore. Every time I touched the drum, I felt a cold presence behind me. It was as if the woman was standing right next to me, her breath on my neck, her eyes staring into mine. "Play for me," she whispered. "Help me find peace." The next full moon, the villagers gathered in the center of the village, preparing for a ceremony. They had told me it was to honor the spirits, to keep them happy. But something felt off. I joined them reluctantly, my heart racing. As I watched the villagers sing and dance, the voice in my head grew louder. The drums called to me, and without thinking, I stood up and began to play. As I played, the ground shook and the sky darkened. The villagers screamed, running in every direction. I kept playing, unable to stop. Suddenly, Nia appeared in the center of the village, her ghostly figure floating above the ground. Nia's face twisted in anger. "You took too long," she whispered, her voice full of rage. "I called you here to set me free, but you're too late. Now, we are bound forever." As she spoke, I felt a coldness seep into my bones. My hands were shaking, my body growing weaker. I tried to stop playing, but I couldn't. The drums kept beating, louder and louder, and the village around me began to vanish, replaced by shadows. The next morning, Kikwit was gone. There was no trace of the village, no sign that it had ever existed. The trees were bare, and the land was empty. Only the sound of drums echoed in the distance. I am still here, playing, unable to stop. Every time my fingers touch the drum, Nia's voice whispers, calling me to join her. And now, I understand. The music was never a gift. It was a curse. And now, I am bound to it forever.
Ponda ponda